Welcome, dear students. The current session is about the main stages in the development and history of English language, and it focuses on movement from recent to future stages. Well, I hope and expect by the end of this session, you would have an idea of what is the current status of English language and what are the possible dimensions of its spread or its development. Well, the first question that we need to think about at the outset is, what is the current status of English language? I think today, in today's world, where the world has changed into a global village, we actually see English everywhere. The status of English in today's world is something that we do not have any precedence for. In fact, if we look at the history of English language, or for that matter, the history of any other language, we do not find any such example where a language would have spread so rapidly and so extensively through the world. Now that we see that English has spread to all the continents, we have varied varieties of English. We have recognized varieties, for instance, of the British English, American English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South Asian English, and within each we have further varieties and divisions, such as in South Asian English, we have Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, Nepali, and Sri Lankan varieties coexisting and independently surviving simultaneously. In all this situation, where currently English has no other match in the world, it is really significant to think about what would be the future of this language, what would be the directions of its movement, which path it would take, what would be its nature in future. The question that we need to think as students of history of English language, how can we relate the divergent spread of English and the future of English language? You know, if English has spread so diversely, if it has taken so many shapes and forms and varieties, if it relates to so many national, ethnic, and geographical entities and identities, then we need to think about all this diversity, and we also need to try to relate it to how it is going to affect or influence the future of English language. In fact, what I mean by that is, should we think about world English or should we think about world Englishes? This leads to a very serious concern and a question as well. Would English remain as one language, or the current varieties of English that are being recognized, and many of them have already been recognized, they would take their independent stand and they would become separate language, and like Latin, that is dead now, and from that different languages have taken, for example, Italian and Spanish, etc. They are independent, and they are not only independent and separate, but also, their features are completely different. Is this going to be the fate of English language? Well, this is really, really difficult to answer. However, probably when we think of science and technology, and when we think of media, and how, both the kind of push and pull forces are operating through the world, where there is a lot of diversity, yet there is a homogeneity, where media and technology brings the whole world together, probably we can make certain guesses about what kind of language it would be. But for sure, what we can say is English somehow is going to be the language of future.